Hi everyone, this is Darrell Lonnie with the head women's basketball coach here at Western Oregon, Greg Bruce. We talk about an easy game. Coaches don't get very many easy games, but you got one last week against Bethany, and it kind of came at the right time, didn't it? You've been playing so many tough opponents. You've been playing so many games on the road. I think it's time that your team got an easier game, and you've got to look at all of your people.
Darrell, we couldn't wait for that game to come, and you're right, it was a great timing for the game to happen to be that way. We did not even know exactly the strength of Bethany when they scheduled the game, or when we scheduled the game back a year ago. They had a pretty good year last year, and even better year the year before. They had some young kids, and they were struggling a little bit, had a couple of injuries. But it was nice to have a game where we didn't have to sit on the edge of our chairs and wonder about the outcome. And we did get to see it. Everybody on our roster played. I thought Courtney Martin off the bench as a freshman, she hasn't gotten a lot of time up to this point, came in, and I think she scored 12 points in 12 minutes with 8 boards, which was good to see. And some other kids, Lowrey Clifford had a game where she could not be pressured the whole night. She got her confidence back a little bit at the point, and several kids did a really good job, so it was nice to have that opportunity.
Confidence is really important in this sport, isn't it? Especially for these young people.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think even more so for females. I'm not sure why, but I think they lose their confidence quicker than maybe a male athlete does, just because they don't have the experience to fall back on in their lifetime of playing ball, you know, night and day, 24/7 as they're growing up. So with the females, it's really good to see them feel good about themselves.
For those who missed the score or missed the game, Western won by 50-some points. We're up almost 30 points at halftime, which allowed you then in the second half, and I'll throw out one example. Katie Torlin, your best player, played 15 minutes in the first half, only used her for 5 minutes in the second half. You cleared the bench early, and a lot of those people played substantial minutes.
Correct, we did, yes. We wanted to be able to see everybody play in those situations, and it really worked out that way. We gave the call, we kind of knew that watching tape coming in that the game was going to be winnable. So we gave the team 10 goals, and most of them were on the defensive end. And the nugget at the end was if they made 7 of their 10 goals, we wouldn't have practice yesterday, which was Sunday. Unfortunately, we only made 6. It came down to, we fouled a kid, in fact, they shot 6 free throws in the last minute and a half, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
And that put them over the free throw limit that we had set. We lost the 7th out of the 10th goal, so the girls had to come back and practice yesterday. But all in all, it was a good time, and the girls played well.
Then you get some time off, and that's ideal, because you had we've been talking about, you had late October games to start the season. So many games, many practices. Good timing here.
Oh, exactly. We can go back now and work on the fundamentals that we kind of shot by early in the season to have to get the team ready for those early games. So we're excited. We have a whole week this week to practice. We don't play until Friday the 5th. I think it's the 5th. And then we have another whole week off with finals. We come back playing a Division I opponent on our gym on December the 14th.
Talk about your next game a little bit.
Well, we play Simpson. Simpson College is in Redding, California. They're an NAIA Division II opponent, which is in the same league as Bethany. This is kind of weird. They're 0-11 right now. However, I say that however, their last game, the second to last game, they went to Southern Oregon and lost at the buzzer 69-68. And Southern Oregon is 8-0 and a pretty good solid NAIA school. And then Saturday, Concordia of Portland, who we lost to in the exhibition season, went down to Simpson. We're up 45-19 at half. Final score, 87-84,
wow.
Concordia. Wow. Simpson shot 45 free throws. Concordia shot 14. So I'm a little concerned, but we do have a week to work on them, and it should be good.
Next home game, December 14th. Weber State comes in. That's a test, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very unusual. In fact, I haven't looked at all 300 and some schedules, but I'd be willing to bet that we're probably the only Division II team that's going to host a Division I team for the regular season in this year. So we have a chance to get Weber here at home. They play Oregon State the Saturday before that. We'll have a chance to look at them and get really prepared. So it should be fun. I mean, that's a game where we obviously have nothing to lose. We'd be the underdog playing a D1 school, but getting them on your own floor is exciting.
Greg, is that the reason that you're able to get them, is because they're playing Oregon State early?
Correct. Their athletic department, believe it or not, as a Division I school, was very cost conscious. They didn't feel that it was right for them to come all the way over to Oregon and play only one game. And so they're going to make them, they want them to play 2. And I guess they called a bunch of schools, and because of the way the final schedules lined up, we were the only ones that did not have finals on that particular week, and that's how we ended up playing them.
Do you play them down there ever in the future, do you think?
Well, it's possible, but we didn't have to give them any kind of a
Yes.
guarantee or to say that we were going to come back, so that's even a better deal.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk about your team right now. Still early on. We're just into December. We're still a month away from league season. What are your concerns about this team? Where do you need to get better, Coach?
Well, we need to get more consistent in all areas. We're still up and down in certain parts. Rebounding is always going to be a worry for us because of our size, not being real tall. And if we don't put out a good effort on a given night, then we can get killed on the boards. If we get killed on the boards, it's hard to win those games. Defensively, once again, we've been up and down a little bit, so that's another concern. We emphasized that early in the season. We got to go back to that now and get more and better defensive principles and fundamentals secured. Our shooting, I think we're a decent shooting team. Sometimes we take poor shots, or we have the wrong people taking shots at the wrong time. When we get that smoothed out, I have a lot of confidence in our offensive ability. I worry more about being able to hold our own on the boards and giving a constant defensive effort game in and game out.
Your league is doing well, isn't it?
Yeah, the top schools, Northwest Nazarene lost here at home, as you saw a couple weeks ago, and that's the only loss of the top 4 schools. Billings just suffered their first loss over the weekend to Adams State, who we play after Christmas in a tournament in Colorado, so they're 4-1. But yeah, it's a really good league.
Before we close and before we get too far into the season, I want you to talk about your staff a little bit. We haven't covered your staff. Who's on your staff and what do they do for you?
Nicole Schutte is beginning her 2nd year. She's a grad assistant here, but she's really my #1 assistant, a former player at Northwest Nazarene, all-conference in basketball. She brings a lot of energy. She's great with our conditioning program, and she knows basketball very well, works mainly with the post players and on the defensive end. We have Mike Lowrey joined us this year. He's an elementary PE teacher in Salem, so he's not here during the day. He comes for practices and games. He's a graduate of Western Oregon. He's kind of he does a lot of our game prep for opponents. He does scouting and prepares our scouting reports for that kind of thing.
Sure.
And also kind of works on the defensive end. Kyle Bruce, who's my son, believe it or not, he's our longest tenured assistant coach in the department. This is his 3rd year helping me out in some facet or another. Of course, I see him every day. He lives at home, and a great sounding board. He works with our video and media stuff and gets all the games prepared, breaks our film down so the girls can see what's going on with themselves individually and us as a team. And lastly, we have Jessica Goss, who played for us last year. She's a student assistant, and she kind of is Nicole's assistant within an assistant. So her role is kind of to help in the conditioning area, be there at practice, and maybe step in and do a drill or 2.
Okay, very good. We'll end it with that. That's the women's head basketball coach here at Western Oregon, Greg Bruce.